What the hell happened, Bruce? Walk me through this. What's going on? What happened?
I think really what you're seeing, Rich, in a big picture sense, is two conferences, the SEC and the Big Ten, because they have the biggest TV power, have really pushed the rest of college football aside. And now it's like basically for whoever is out there, you are trying to say, you know what, my conference probably isn't viable anymore. So I better jump in now or else I'll regret that I didn't. And in the case of USC, you had a lot of leverage because obviously both USC and UCLA aren't just in, like, to me, what I think is what I think it needs to be underscored here, if it's not enough, people can talk about, okay, well, you know, the Big Ten has the New York media market because Rutgers is there. I mean, you and I both grew up in that area. It's not, you know, it's not Jets and Giants appeal there. But USC and UCLA, I mean, especially USC, people out here are all about it, right? And so I think that is different. You are bringing this big TV market into the Big Ten. You're also bringing iconic brands. I mean, when I show you the USC helmet, you know, UCLA uniforms, people recognize them. I know those programs have not been ultra successful, the last 5 years, or even that successful the last 5 years. But still, in terms of what they command, and you do have a bunch of connections here because of the, you know, it's ironic because I think the Rose Bowl is the subplot to this, what happens to it. But because of the Rose Bowl, because of so many matchups between UCLA and USC, and again against their, you know, Big Ten heavyweight counterparts, I think there is a lot of connection, and it feels similar, just like, you know, much more so than it would if you say, hey, USC is going to join the SEC, and now they're going to play Mississippi State and Auburn. I mean, yeah, those schools have played, but it just doesn't, you know, have the same kind of connection where I feel like these are a little more like-minded.
Well, before we get into the ramifications and spin forward, I still want to linger in the how this happened. You say, and most reports as well confirmed what I saw from you first, that the two schools here in Los Angeles, USC and UCLA, reached out to the Big Ten. It was their idea, and I imagine the Big Ten is like, okay, we're kind of negotiating our next television deal, so you're telling me we can add a completely different time zone and the number 2 media market in the United States and America to add to leverage on top of what we're doing? Oh, okay. I mean, that had to happen, right? Like that was the exchange, and if so, if not, what did happen between these two sides?
Yeah.
Best you can tell.
And we stand by our reporting on that the schools out here were driving more than the Big Ten was initially on this. But again, as you said, with the TV deal coming up, this makes it that much sweeter.
Of course.
You're taking these two schools, this huge market. The other thing it also does, if you're, you know, standing it with the Big Ten on this, is it expands their day out now in terms of you could basically have wall to wall from the time the first game kicks off. I don't think you'll see Big Ten After Dark the way we've seen it, like, you know, it's going on at 2 a.m. back east. But I think you will see games now all of a sudden it's a lot more manageable. And also just from, you know, conversations I had in the past with Chip Kelly's the head coach of UCLA, he was actually, when this was discussed 2 years ago, he was open to, hey, I'll play 9 a.m. kickoff games. He didn't have any qualms about his team having to do that. And so I think there's a lot of it's going to make a lot of sense because it's going to make a lot of money. And I think the things to kind of recognize most on this is if USC did not leave, they were going to make a third, maybe a half of what Purdue was going to make or what Vanderbilt was going to make from their TV deals and from what they were going to have revenue-wise going forward. UCLA has been in a real hole financially. This can solve a lot of those issues for them. I mean, now there's going to be some logistical challenges, no doubt, from a travel standpoint, especially with the other non-revenue sports. But we're talking about so much cash coming in here and where it's going, and especially with, I think even if USC and UCLA stayed in the Pac-12, the Pac-12 was going to be hit so hard because they're going to be left behind even further by this new Big Ten TV deal that I think it's just going to be a real uphill climb if you're not part of these two leagues, being the Big Ten and the SEC.
So is it possible, before we start spinning forward here, and fallout and ripple effects, is it possible Lincoln Riley knew that USC was considering moving to the Big Ten when he left the Big 12? And boy, that's all you heard from Sooner fans is he's running from the competition. He doesn't want to play the SEC. He wants to go to Southern California and beat up on Pac-12 teams. Well, that ain't happening now for him. So is it possible he did not know, maybe, or he knew?
I don't think it goes this far back. Wow. I really don't. I don't think he knew that. Okay. I don't think this was something realistic. Somebody was going to say, hey, 7 months from now, there's going to be a big, no, I don't buy that part of it. Did Lincoln Riley probably know 7 days ago? Yeah, I think. But when he was in Norman, Oklahoma, after losing Bedlam to Oklahoma State, I don't think that part factored into it. I really don't. I just think right now, so much for him was like, hey, I want to go out to USC and let me see what I can do with this, iconic program that has been down, and, let's see where this works, and it's a new challenge. I mean, look, it's going to be really interesting to see how technically, his old school, Oklahoma, probably won't be playing in the SEC before his new school USC gets in the Big Ten.
It's crazy. He's going to be a Big Ten coach before Oklahoma joins the SEC. That's kind of what's so crazy is how fast it's happened.